Hello and welcome back to a new video. This one is kind of in the vein of the video I did a few weeks back, 2 weeks ago I think, that came out 2 weeks ago at least, about the way that I found, this potion, this recipe, to find, hidden truth and meaning in life and become extremely intelligent above all else. Well, I know I was wrong, obviously, because I am extremely smart because of this concoction, but I am become even smarter because recently I have been touched again by spirits in my sleep. Yes, you very got that right. This increase in smartness because of that potion created, basically it increased my spiritual energy, and beings from beyond our spiritual realm detected that. They were able to pick up on that increase, and they contacted me, and they were like, this is the first time a human, I mean, maybe it's not anymore because I've publicized the recipe, but at the time it was the first time a human had reached such enlightenment since the Buddha, basically. Buddha and Jesus and all these people were able to, reach a degree of enlightenment that I have only been able to reach since. And they've given me something new to tell you all, to be honest. And before I get into what I have and how it became clear to me, because I want to go through it with you to show you how important this discovery truly is, I have to tell you something else. I don't remember what I wanted to say, actually. What do I have to begin with? I have to begin with what basically this brought me that the potion didn't bring me. You know what I mean? Because you might think, yes, I am already all powerful and all intelligent and all wise. So why would I need another boost in intelligence, wisdom, all of that? Well, actually, I thought I was back then, but I know I am not now, because now I am able to see God's divine light. And whatever the God you believe in, or the gods you believe in, you will see them. They all exist, basically. And you can meet them. And I met them because they approached me, as I said, and it gave me the way to contact them again. And to be honest, like, I did not expect for it to be that, because as you'll see, it's very weird. So anyways, flashback, yes. Flashback to a few weeks back. I had just drunk my concoction, and I was still reeling from it because, as you know, because you've taken it, but whenever you take it, it takes a while to take effect, and you feel like shit for like an hour and a half at first, and now I only feel like shit for like maybe 30 minutes. But it was at the beginning of my journey, so I was feeling like utter shit, and I was just laying in bed in a state of mild delirium, I think you could say, because my mind was thinking things that I would, my clearer mind before and after taking this potion would never think. You see, I like to keep on my bedside some sort of I don't want to call it a cocktail because people are going to accuse me of being an alcoholic, but a beverage, a nice little beverage by my bedside in case I wake up at night and I can sip from it. And in this drink, this bevy, there is a straw, because when I wake up at night, I'm too afraid to drink from the glass because I don't want to spill it all over myself in my bed, as you might understand. So I like to put a straw on it so that I can wake up, look around for my straw, take a sip, and drink, and go back to sleep, like ease back to sleep. So, you know. And that night, I mean, I was feeling a bit ill. It was maybe 7 p.m., so long before my bedtime. But I was still laying in bed, feeling like utter crap and nauseous and quite honestly insane. I was feeling crazy. and not in a good way when you're ready to do anything. Well, I was quite ready to do anything, to be honest, and I did anything. But not in a good way. And so I see this straw on my bedside, and I had not yet refilled the glass because I do it before I go to bed at like 10, so it was still empty and dry, but still like a bit sugary, you know, sticky from the sugar in the drink, in the beverage, and I don't know what came over me, but I started like looking at this straw, like, because I mean, you probably know about, oh my god, this skeleton is going to kill me. Literally. You probably know of the practice of sounding, using sounding rods, which means inserting objects inside your urethra to feel some sort of, you know, sexual stimulation. I think everybody knows about that, and I always saw it as gross. And whenever I saw it, because sometimes you see things online, I would feel ill, and like I would obviously, like, very much like all those shock images, they make you feel like shit, and you want nothing but to unsee them. Well, that night, that when I look at that straw, this practice sounding seemed quite nice to me, you know. Like, I was in such a state of delirium and completely outside of my body and my mind, that something that had seemed to me earlier in life like a complete waste and disgusting and painful and everything seemed quite alluring to me. And I mean, I had the implement to do it right next to me, and in my state of uninhibited craze, basically, it was a craze. I think I did. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail, but I think you know what I mean. Oh my Jesus, man! Won't you fucking leave me alone? And you know what I mean, and you know what I did, and I don't know why I never heard of the effects of such practice, because, or maybe I'm the only one that happened to, but once I got done with it, instead of the usual, you know, feeling after you do your deed, my mind basically went completely blank, like not a thought in there. And instead of, you know, coming back, things started to become clearer. Like, people talk about personal clarity, and that's not it. I had never felt that way without using a sounding rod. Well, a straw here, a plastic straw. Something different happened, and I think it's the combination of the sounding and the beverage, the potion that I talked about, because that's when the spirits called upon me. And, well, it's not necessarily called upon me, but met me, because basically, okay, these beings can only access our realm through the human urethra. Oh my Jesus. Through the human urethra. Doesn't matter if you're man or woman or whatever, you know what I mean. Like, it's everybody has a urethra. You just access it differently, and you can sound even if you don't have a penis, which I think a lot of people don't know. But that's not for me to educate. Actually, it's exactly for me to educate them on the matter. But basically, these spirits can, one, only see us when you have achieved a state of great enlightenment, which I had through the potion, and when you start basically putting some sort of dowsing rod-like object in your urethra, so that they can catalyze and catalyze as well their energy through the objects straight to the core of your being. Because people like to think that the brain is like what you are and the rest is nothing, and in Chinese mythology they say the heart is what you are and the rest is the body. But really, I think it's the bottom of the urethra, the bladder, actually, the human piss bladder. And I think it's no coincidence that the core of a human body is the bladder, and that you can achieve a state of enlightenment through drinking a potion that inevitably ends up in your bladder. So I think it's not a coincidence, and I think it means that I've kind of stumbled upon something really grand pretty much by accident, because what I did, and I'm, as much as I want to say that I was guided by voices, like the band, I was really guided by lust, a lust I had never felt before. In that potion, I didn't think that this potion would bring such lust in people. Otherwise, I would have obviously told you. But the things are the way they are. You know what I mean? It's too late to go back now, and I think it's only a matter of time until you start feeling that for yourself once you start taking that potion. So the spirits had finally a way to contact this ball of enlightened energy that I was when I started sounding. And that's the moment they reached me, and basically I started asking what they were, even though my enlightened state allowed me to know what they were before they even introduced themselves, and they knew that, but because they want nothing but good for us, they still go through the human protocol for introducing, and they introduce themselves to make me feel at ease. And they even took on a human form to make me, less afraid. You know how in the Bible the angels say be not afraid, because they have horrible shapes and they're extremely scary to use the human mind. That's the same, except these are better than angels, because instead of saying be not afraid, that's gonna change anything, they actually do they do the work. Basically, they don't tell. Instead of telling, it's like telling a depressed person just go outside and be happy. Be not afraid is kind of useless. Now, these entities took a step up, and I asked them basically, by the way, about the angels and they say the angels exist, by the way. And they live with these entities, and these entities were we send the angels to the people who have sounded but not reached such an enlightenment that they can understand us, so we send them something to scare them off sounding forever, basically. So when people see the angels and they're completely afraid, like in Lovecraftian legend and mythology, I mean, they were sounding when they clearly were not ready to ascertain this obvious truth, of the ever-unitedness of the universe, whatever. They speak in a lot of jargon that I don't understand and don't care to understand, to be honest, because I do understand it, but I don't care to understand it. And so it just exits my mind the moment it goes in. That's the power you can get as well. The power to understand everything, and yet if you choose to understand nothing. And that's fucking powerful right there. And I think Plato was a great sounder. Very, very fond of sounding. Unfortunately, probably practiced it with minors, which is probably what kept him from really understanding the power of sounding, because I think these entities are really against pedophilia, as he even told me like some really rough stuff about Michael Jackson. And like, sorry you MJ fans, but like if you start taking the potion and you start meeting these entities, don't talk about Michael Jackson. Like, they hate the man. I mean, why do you think he died so young? Just, you know what I mean. I mean, need I say more? So I mean, I think that covers it, basically, this encounter of the third kind. Like, as I said, they told me how to reach them in the future, which is basically through sounding. But they told me, like, because I used a plastic straw, they could not, like, yeah, use plastic straws, whatever, get over it. They could not really reach me clearly, like the transmission was bad, and they told me to use sounding rods that are made of a special type of alloy of different metals. Really completely went over my head. I don't give a shit. I'm going to use aluminum whatever straws. I don't care. Like, they were like, fucking nerds, basically, and annoying at that. Maybe that's just the one I got. Maybe you're gonna meet an entity that's not fucking annoying, but you know, I guess that's on a person-to-person basis. I don't know. So you need to use at least something metal, as I said. So aluminum is a metal. I think it's most sounding rods are made of metal, so that's what I'm gonna use in the future to reach them. I advise you do the same, but clearly using a plastic straw worked as well. I think, okay, the less enlightened you are, the more you need to use a very conductive rod to their spiritual power. But because I am so smart and so enlightened and so like one with the universe, they were able to reach me perfectly fine through a plastic straw. And I think, to be honest, that you don't even like my potion, because I only become so enlightened because of this potion, right? And I think this potion is unlike anything they ever even know about. And so because I know more than them, obviously, I know all that they know plus all that they don't know. So that tells you a little bit about me and my knowledge. Basically, I'm even smarter than Tai Lopez, which says a lot. What the fuck was I saying? Oh, Creeper. Oh man. Yes. So you don't need really if you use my potion to increase your enlightenment levels, you don't need to use any weird metal alloy for your sounding rod. Just use what you have on hand. For me, it was a plastic straw. For you, it might be a cardboard straw if you're like, oh, diamond. If you're what's it called, like ecological, or if you care about the earth. It might be, if you're like a sounding expert, it might even be like some crazy stuff like with ridges and stuff like that. I don't have that. I don't think that's something I'm into, but you go off, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the story of how I met these beings and how I came into contact with them, and that's the way to reach them even, like I think, and to reach heaven as well, both on earth and as it is. Oh, there's a mineshaft down there. That's gonna be for the next video though, because I'm going to log off for now and leave you with that, leave you with all this wisdom. I hope you're able to make use of it, good use of it. Obviously, I don't think you can make any bad use of it, to be honest, because you cease to see the distinction between good and evil once you are on that shit, and you only see good. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Forrest Gump preference, by the way. Bye bye.